am shy. In elementary school, for a play about a safari, everyone else was an animal. And I was grass. I've never asked a question in a large lecture hall. You can find me hidden in the corner of any exercise class. I'll apologize if you bump into me. If I sleep over, the blankets will look like they've never been touched. I introduce myself here because in the story I'm about to tell, I begin with no name or identity, no character traits or behaviors assigned to me. I was found as a half-naked body, alone and unconscious. No wallet, no ID. Policemen were summoned. A Stanford dean was awakened to come see if he could recognize me. Witnesses asked around. Nobody knew who I belonged to, where I'd come from, who I was. In 2015, Chanel Miller's life was changed forever. She was assaulted by Stanford swimmer Brock Turner and hid behind the anonymous cloak of Jane Doe. That is, until last year, when she finally told her story. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. My memory tells me this. On January 17th, 2015, I was living at my parents' house in Palo Alto. My younger sister, Tiffany, a junior at Cal Poly, had driven 3 hours up the coast for the long weekend. Later that night, my dad cooked broccoli and quinoa. Then 2 more of Tiffany's friends, Colleen and Tria, arrived. The plan was for the 3 of them to meet Julia at Stanford. They said, "You should come." I said, should I go? Would it be weird if I went? I'd be the oldest one there. Opening and closing cabinet doors, we found nothing but whiskey. I drank the whiskey straight, unapologetically, freely. We asked our mom to take the 4 of us to Stanford, a 7-minute drive. She dropped us off. We walked 5 minutes, descended the slope of pavement to a large house tucked beneath pine trees. A guy with tiny tally marks of hair on his upper lip let us in. In college, a fraternity is an exclusive kingdom throbbing with noise and energy, where the young ones hail and the large males rule. We discovered a plastic handle of vodka on the table. I cradled it, like I had discovered water in the desert. I poured it into a cup and threw it back straight. I stood alone on a chair, arms in the air, a drunk piece of seaweed, until my sister escorted me down. Then I went outside to be in the bushes. I was bored, at ease, drunk, and extremely tired. And that is where my memory goes black, where the reel cuts off. The next thing I remember, I was in a gurney in a hallway. I had dried blood and bandages on the backs of my hands and elbows. I was so confused and simply wondering where my sister was. The deputy explained I had been assaulted. When I was finally allowed to use the restroom, I pulled down the hospital pants they had given me and went to pull down my underwear. I felt nothing. I still remember the feeling of my hands touching my skin and grabbing nothing. I looked down and there was nothing. I shuffled from room to room with a blanket trailing behind me. I was asked to sign papers that said, "Rape victim." My clothes were confiscated, and I stood there naked while the nurses held a ruler to various abrasions on my body and photographed them. After a few hours of this, they let me shower. I stood there, examining my body beneath the stream of water, and I decided, I don't want my body anymore. My sister picked me up, face wet with tears and contorted in anguish. Instinctively, I wanted to take away her pain. I told her to look at me. "I'm right here. I'm okay, I'm right here. Everything's okay." I was not ready to tell my boyfriend or my parents that actually I may have been raped behind a dumpster. If I told them, I would see the fear on their faces. So instead, I pretended the whole thing wasn't real. I tried to push it out of my mind, but it was so heavy. I didn't talk, I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. After work, I would drive to a secluded place to scream. One day, at work, I was scrolling through the news on my phone, and I came across a video. Alleged victim said she blacked out after drinking 2 whiskey shots, 2 vodka shots, and stepping outside the frat house. The woman is now recovering at a hospital. Brock Turner, a freshman, was a 3-time All-American high school swimmer and state record holder in 2 freestyle events. If convicted, Turner, who raced in the London 2012 U.S. Olympic trials, could receive up to 10 years in prison. Turner was an excellent student and an excellent athlete. It's very tragic, and he's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I found the first comments at the end of the video. What was a college grad doing at a frat? He was only 19. She hooked up with a freshman. Doesn't that make her the predator? Not trying to blame the victim, but something is seriously wrong if you drink yourself to unconsciousness. I mean, she didn't even go to Stanford. Did he give her a roofie? If not, why would any woman get so drunk? I have never allowed myself to get so drunk that I don't know what I'm doing. The video linked to a police report. I clicked, scrolling. Turner stated that he kissed the victim while on the ground. He took off the victim's underwear and fingered her. He also touched the victim's breasts. Turner does not know the identity of victim. He never got her name and was never able to really describe her. Turner stated he would not be able to recognize victim if he ever saw her again. One year later, when it came time for him to testify, he had learned I did not remember. So a new story emerged. Brock had a strange new dialogue, like a poorly written young adult novel, with kissing and hand-holding and dancing and lovingly tumbling onto the ground. And most importantly, in this new story, there was suddenly consent. He remembered, oh yeah, by the way, she actually said yes to everything. He said he had asked if I wanted to dance. Apparently, I said yes. Then he asked if I wanted to go to his dorm. I said yes. Then he asked if he could touch me. I said yes. He's in the clear. Even in his story, I only said a total of 3 words. Yes, 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 before he had me half naked on the ground. Brock, future reference, if you are confused about whether a girl can consent, see if she can speak an entire sentence. I couldn't even do just that. Just one coherent string of words. If she can't do that, then no. Not maybe, just no. "12 jurors convicted him guilty of 3 felony counts beyond reasonable doubt. And I thought, finally, it is over. Finally, he will own up to what he did and truly apologize. We can both move on and get better. Then his father stood up. Brock was struggling to fit in socially. It's clear in hindsight that Brock was desperately trying to fit in at Stanford and fell into a culture of alcohol consumption and partying. This culture was modeled by many of the upperclassmen on the swim team and clearly played a role in the events of January 17th and 18th, 2015. Brock will never again be his happy-go-lucky self with that easygoing personality and welcoming smile. These verdicts have broken and shattered him and our family in so many ways. That is a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action. He was sentenced 6 months and only served 3. He is a lifetime sex registrant that doesn't expire. Just like what he did to me doesn't expire, doesn't just go away after a set number of years. It stays with me forever. It's part of my identity. Thank you.